guys. Thursday night, 9 o'clock. It's time for a rugby chat that matters. Hashtag the Handicap on Twitter. What a weekend of rugby we've got ahead of us. We've got the Bledisloe Cup. We've got an international between South Africa and Argentina. That's, of course, taking place at Loftus. We've got international rugby. We've got Currie Cup and we've got Mitre10 Cup. And just because the internationals are the biggest games doesn't mean that's where the big money's going. I can tell you that one of our panelists already has said that his fancies are lying elsewhere. So let's get straight into it and introduce the panel. Before we do that, though, if you haven't watched our videos before, go down below the video, hit the subscribe button, whack the bell, and you will get notified of all of our videos. Let's start off then by introducing you to one of our big regulars, and that's Henrik Swart. Henrik, good to have you on the show.
Hi, Brent. Yeah, nice to be back. Was a decent weekend last weekend, and just that Perth debacle. I fancied New Zealand there, and I still think New Zealand would have won the game regardless of the red card. But yeah, that wasn't the best. But all in all, it was a decent weekend.
Yeah, I must say, I was like you. I actually piled in. I think my big bet on the game ended up being New Zealand over 4.5 tries. And they ended up, I thought I was going to burgle it at the end there, you know, when they scored that fourth try, like straight off the kickoff. And I thought, geez, I've got 8 minutes to get another try. But they just never impressed last week. And I think I probably placed 8 winning bets out of 11 or 9 winning bets out of 11. And I think I broke about square for the weekend. Let's go to another man who made his debut on the show last week. Gerard, good to have you back on. Top performance last week. And I see you smiling because I know that you followed Henrik Swart's tip this morning on the Good for the Game forum for the Mitre10 Cup.
Yes, yeah, thanks, Brent. Do appreciate you guys inviting me back. And yeah, thanks to Henrik and the rest of the guys on the forum that actually made us aware of that Auckland minus handicap. And at the end of the day, it came in quite comfortably, eh?
Excellent. Well, just for those of you female viewers out there wondering where Hein Diemont Couch Critic is, I can tell you that I'm actually looking at him. He's sitting in the studio, but he's feeling a little bit under the weather. He decided for the first time in a few months to go for a run the other day, and he's got, I think, somewhere around his driveway, and he's torn his ligaments. He's had an operation. He's feeling a little bit out of it. A week and a half has gone by, and someone at his work actually noticed today that he was missing for the first time as well. But I can tell you that he's sitting in the studio. He'll be joining us in the live chat. And if my sound goes, because those of you who are regulars to the show will know I'm having problems after 15, 20 minutes with the sound, then Couch Critic will step in and host the show. But he is hovering there, and I can see him shaking his head already. But let's get in, guys, because we've got plenty of rugby to talk about tonight. And Gerard, I'm going to start with you. Let's talk Bledisloe Cup. We've got New Zealand up against Australia. That's now at Eden Park. I had a look when I did for the Good for the Game preview. Australia have got a shocking record at Eden Park. They've got a really poor record in New Zealand, full stop. I think their last victory came in something like 2001. But I don't know about you, but I just get the feeling that this Australian team, I mean, it's all very well saying they're targeting it, but I actually feel they've got the ability to rock this New Zealand side. I've gone for plus 14.5 in the Good for the Game preview. Where are you leaning here?
Yeah, Brent, I think the last time New Zealand lost at Eden Park was 1994. So what's that? Is it 25 years or whatever it is? It's amazing. It's great record. But to be honest, I really feel that New Zealand is very vulnerable at this stage. Hansen can say whatever he likes. He can say that it's due to experiments and he's not worried. There's no ways you can't. We a month away from the World Cup to start. And you losing against your arch rival, or not just losing, getting a hiding. Even though it was a red card, they were out of the game prior to that even. So, yes, I'm also on the plus, definitely. I think it's plus 14.5 at the moment. I do believe that especially the first half is going to be as tough as nails, because I know Hansen also put it to his players to really come out and fight. But in Afrikaans, there's a saying, benoude bokke maak benoude spronge. It's basically to say that when you basically in a corner, you make the easiest choice. And I don't understand how you can leave Ben Smith, the world's best fullback, straight out of your team. That's ridiculous. I love Ben Smith, great player, and I think his records speak for itself. It's just a simple fact that he's playing wing, and that's not his preferred position. So yeah, I do believe I like the plus 14.5, and I think especially first half, I don't think there's going to be a lot of points in that first half. It's going to be New Zealand trying to get the dominance back and trying to prove a point. And I don't think there's going to be too much points in that first half as well.
Almost like a back to basics approach. I must say, I also touched on it in the preview. I hadn't seen a points quote, but I thought to myself, this is a game where I think I'm looking, if the quote's around 52.5, I'm definitely going to be looking unders. And I'm sure Hanrick will share his view on the handicap first and then give us his opinion on the total points line.
Brent, we're always talking about the points. Let's stay with that. Because, I'm not sure about that. New Zealand, normally they've been pretty decent on defense, but last week I was really disappointed in their defense. They fell off tackles easily. And Jaco Pieper is the ref here, and he's the overs ref for me. So I would be, I won't be that comfortable taking unders with him in charge, and also with the New Zealand defense. I haven't had a look at the conditions actually. I slipped up there, but if the conditions, at Eden Park it normally drains well as well. Last week I know you had a bet on the Auckland game there as well, and Auckland scored and Rowe-Robets scored tries for fun in the weather.
Yes, I mean there the weather was, and in the end I went under 44.5 or 47.5, and the line started about 42.5, and then I still went again at under 56.5, and in the end there were no points for the last 20 minutes, and my bet arrived. There were 56 points exactly, so I managed to get out of it. But you're quite right. You've got to be very careful at some of these grounds. The drainage and that is so good. And I hear you on Pipe. I haven't done my homework fully on this because it's just been one of those weeks for me. But just got a feeling I'm on Australia Plus, but I see a lot of guys disagreeing with me already in the live chat.
Yeah, I'm going to stay out of the handicap. I'm going to take New Zealand by 1 to 12. So I'm basically with you guys on the plus. I just feel New Zealand will do enough to win at Eden Park. It's just the Eden Park factor for me. If this was at any other place in New Zealand, I would have taken the plus and I would have given Australia a chance for a win. But this is the Bledisloe decider, and this is at Eden Park. So I think New Zealand will win the game. I think they will struggle. They won't. I can't see them winning by a lot. I know you're saying you guys not in agreement with that, but I think they will win a close game. I can't trust this New Zealand team on the minus on covering a handicap at the moment. They've been very poor on covering handicap. So I'm taking a smaller bet at the bigger price of more than 2 to 1. New Zealand 1 to 12.
Excellent. Well, just a welcome to Sean Nicholas in the live chat. Evening, boys. Nice tipping last weekend. Nagasaki Swart. Of course, a reference to your confidence in Japan on beating the handicap, which they did do quite comfortably. We don't have Couch on the show actually now to give us his try scorer tips, but I'm sure he'll throw something in the live chat that we can bring up. But I'm with you guys. I really think we're going to be in for a Gerard, your comment about the first half. I think it's going to be really a case of New Zealand trying to exert their dominance, and I think we could have a fairly tight game. But we'll see about that. I've never been much of an unders player at the best of times, so we'll have to see, especially now that Jaco Pieper is there, which way we go. Anything else from either of you guys on that game before we move on to the South African match?
No, Brent. I think we have more fancies in the rest of it to come.
Excellent. It's going to be a strange show because everyone thinks they're going to talk Bledisloe internationals, and we are. But I think most of the chat's going to be about the Currie Cup and the Mitre10 Cup. We'll get onto that. Look at that smile from Gerard. He's 100% in agreement with that. Let's move on, though, to the test match. And I'll start with you, Hanrick, here between South Africa and Argentina. This one, I noticed on the weekend when I did sort of handicaps for the Currie Cup that the bookmakers had priced up on the Bledisloe, but not on this. And I think everyone knew that Team News was going to play a big role here. That being said, the bookies did come out. And generally speaking, the line hasn't actually moved that much after South Africa have named a very, I suppose, a pre-World Cup team, and really just to perhaps a couple of guys getting a final shot and just ensuring that a couple of other guys are rested.
I think I see the bookies they're holding on the line, and not a lot of movement. There was 21.5 available at a couple of bookmakers about a day or two ago. It's coming about, I think it's settled about 18 or 19. I think the main reason it's staying so big is South Africa. They're really playing well under Rassie, and I think the whole squad is doing well, and you can see they are well coached, and everybody knows what they have to do. And then the other thing is the Loftus factor, the altitude factor. So I think that's the bookies know that South Africa can pull away in the last 20 minutes, and you can get a couple of tries like we got at Ellis Park with the Australia game. South Africa scored a couple at the end. So yeah, I'm on the plus here. I got plus 21.5 on Argentina. I thought about going for the halftime handicap on Argentina. I'm not sure what Hein's feelings is on that.
Have a look at the comment I've just pulled up there. He's spot on with you there.
Yeah, so yeah, I know he likes that first half handicap, and I had thought about it, but I'm not good with the first half handicap. Generally, over the years, I've struggled to first half handicap, so I like to stick to the full time. So I'm going for the plus 21.5 here, but the main focus will definitely be on points. I'm a bit concerned about the ref. It's Luke Pearce from England, so I'm not that fond of him, but it is at altitude. Conditions will be perfect. And I think with the untested combinations of the Boks, there should be a few holes. The defense, the Boks defense has been very good. Their line speed on defense has been very good, but I think there might be a few guys that not know each other that good on defense. So I'll be looking at overs and Argentina points here.
Overs on Argentina points. Yeah, I think I like that one as well. I just recall the Huggiaris getting overs. I think it was at Ellis Park this year where they looked even down and out, and they're always the sort. If the Boks do run away with it, and they certainly got the ability to come back and score some consolation tries. Just to welcome them to Johan and Nico joining us there in the live chat, and let's go over to Gerard and see what he makes of this game.
Yeah, I have to agree with Hanrick as well. I think currently the cap is at 19.5 at WSB. Either way, it's a pretty large cap for an international game, and yeah, it's at Loftus as well. But you never know what you're going to get out of the Argentinians. And my biggest problem with them is they can arrive here and they can absolutely just be tackling shadows, or they can actually rock up and really trying to get revenge for last week suffering a huge loss at home to the Springboks. So that's my biggest problem with this actually is that the fact that South Africa have a lot of players that have to prove a point to get to that last 20% that Rassie needs for his squad to go to the World Cup. And then Argentina know who their best 31 players are. They're most probably just coming here, having a nice time and having a game on Saturday. So I also like the points. Yes, it's obviously at altitude. I also, the ref is an English ref that's normally penalty to scrum, to line out, to penalty, to 3 points. That's their repetition. But I do feel that when there's friendlies and when there's nothing on the line, they do allow for a little bit of more freedom for the players to actually play the advantage. So I do think if the quote is not extremely high, I think that is maybe the way to go.
I think, yeah, I hear you guys there. I must say, I do think, unfortunately, that the bookies are going to be onto this. I haven't seen any points lines, and if anyone on the live chat has seen points lines, please mention it. But I think they're going to be onto us here. I think we're going to get a quote around about 56, 57 points, which is probably a bit higher than I like. But certainly if it comes in closer to the 52-point mark, I'll be looking at overs. And at the very least, I mean, Hanrick, I wouldn't think Argentina, with being such big underdogs, even if there's quite a high points quote, you should be able to go higher at about, what do you think, 23, 24 in the Argentina points?
Yeah, that's exactly where I thought, Brent. Just over the three converted try mark. In Argentina, they normally kick every penalty they get. So you should get 2 or 3 penalties out of them, and then you just have to score 3 tries.
Excellent. Well, the time is 9:14, and this is normally the time when my sound starts going. So I'm holding thumbs that we don't have any problems. Maybe the problem is that Couch Critic's normally on the show with us. Perhaps somehow or other my Wi-Fi doesn't like him. But anyway, let's hold thumbs that I can stick it out, guys. Couch did say there, and I think I popped it up there, Quagga to score the last try. I'm not sort of sure what price that is. But what we'll do is, before we get into the Currie Cup and the Mitre10 Cup, let's touch on the other internationals. And I'm looking at the first one that we're going to have is Wales against England. I see Wales minus 2.5 points against England, so they are slight favourites at home. But I'm seeing the likes of South Point, our forum, Gerard is saying, hold on a second, England have actually named a stronger side than the one that did the damage last week against Wales. And he reckons, I think it was 17-20 at Sunbet, Wales for the win. What do you make of that? I mean, sorry, England for the win, sorry.
Yeah, Brent, I think it's actually currently like -1.5 for Wales. I could get that at WSB, but I super rooted Wales last weekend for a win. I thought they had a brilliant team, close to their best team. And England had a couple of inexperienced guys playing, one or two guys making a debut. And just England demolished poor Wales at the scrums. And I don't think they were actually in the game. They scored one or two great individual tries, but just too many mistakes. But when that Welsh anthem plays at the Millennium Stadium, I think it's I would assume it's at Millennium Stadium. I'm not quite sure about that. But when that anthem plays at home, you don't know what beast comes out of that Welsh players. It's they have a lot of respect for the jersey that they wear, and I can't go against a team that won 14 games on the trot prior to last Saturday. So I'm not going to take a bet on this. I'm going to try and stay away from this just due to the fact that it's a toss-up for me between the two teams.
Excellent. Well, I must just tell you, the first signs of the sound going are actually appearing for me. Although so far so good, I can hang in there. Henrik, have you got an opinion on this game?
No, not a strong opinion here, Brent. Well, England really impressed me on defense last week, and I like England for the World Cup, and I like Eddie Jones. So just on that, I will probably go for England on the plus. But yeah, I'm probably not even going to bet on this game, but my opinion is just on the plus.
Right, so that's that first international. Also one I'm not going to get terribly carried away with. Let's go on to the other one, which I think is going to be very interesting. It's France against Scotland. We haven't really seen anything of these sides. And I mean, France are in a very tough group. They're with Argentina and England in their group in the World Cup. And I know lots of guys a couple of months ago were climbing on Argentina on the plus in that opening game. And I think a lot of people have cooled on that, the way Argentina have been playing. But this should be interesting. I see France, Hanrick, are -7.5.
Yeah, that sounds a bit big to me, even with it being in France. I actually hope Scotland do well here, so the bookies can fancy Scotland in the World Cup, because I'm looking to take Scotland on when they play Japan. I think Japan can qualify ahead of them in the World Cup. So yeah, but looking at this game, I think maybe the plus is the way to go. The Scots, they're pretty good, and with the French, you never know what to get. But yeah, my good friend Johan Lapshit told me today, if you want to lose money this weekend, bet on this game, because you don't know what's going to happen. Yeah. But yeah, the game is at 9 o'clock, and then all the other games would have been finished. So I'm probably going to watch the game, and that's going to be difficult watching the game without money. So I'm probably going to have a small bet. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Well, we'll get on to some of those other games now. Are there any internationals, guys, that I'm missing on the weekend that you want to focus on before we move on to Currie Cup?
There's one other one, Brent, but yeah, I'm not even sure if we're going to get betting on it. It's Italy versus Russia. It's on Super Sport as well. It's at 6 o'clock on Saturday our time. But yeah, I'm just interested to see how Russia goes there, just to get a gauge on their team.
Okay.
Guys, there's just my 2 cents on the France-Scotland game. There's 2 things that you never bet on. The French winning a rugby game and Pakistan winning a cricket game. You just stay away from those 2. They will just disappoint you.
Yeah, you got to be very careful with the French. I mean, they can pop up and win some games that might surprise. But I've learned over the years you don't want to have too much money on them when you really are relying on them. Just to welcome the Wanderer there from the UK watching our channel, and Johan will get on to those games in just a few seconds that you're talking about there. Couch Critic, I know you're listening out there. Just be on standby, mate. Can you believe it? My sound's going again. So I'm going to start off on the Currie Cup, but if it gets much worse, I'm going to bring you into the studio to take over. But guys, that's it as far as the international rugby goes. So let's move on to the Currie Cup, and let's start, Gerard, with you. That's on Friday night, and we've got the Griquas against Western Province. Now, this game is crucial certainly for those of us like Hanrick, who've taken a bit of 25-1 Griquas at the start of the season. This is a crucial game, because if Griquas can get a win here, there's every chance that they top the table. And maybe open up that dream trip to Kimberley for all of us, for Gary Lenton to buy us beers down at Tafel Lager Park. What do you make of this one? I see around about 6.5 points is the line.
Geez, with that much on the line, you have to go Griquas almost. But I think all of us would love Griquas to finish top, having the best chance to go as far as possible in the Currie Cup, and obviously having the best chance to win it. But I'm going to stay away from the handicap. I don't care what the points are. I think there's going to be a lot of points in this game. It's in Kimberley. Yes, it's on a Friday evening. That's weird for a Kimberley game, but there's going to be a lot of points, and Rasta is the ref. So yeah, it's going to be free flowing. There's going to be points, and Province, they lost 4 players to the Springbok squad, or I think it's 5 players. And poor Chad Solomon didn't have a lot of time to practice his lineouts, but I think there's going to be a lot of points in this game. So I would prefer to stay away from the handicap for this game, but definitely on the points, and hoping to get something. Just anything under 60 will do.
Excellent. Well, I'm going to bring Hanrick in there. Now, while I'm bringing Hanrick in, Hein, I'm afraid I'm bringing you in. The sound is gone for me. I need to do a few experiments. Hopefully, I will be joining you back. Otherwise, I'll sit in the back end. So let me, while Hanrick's talking, bring up our couch critic just to finish off the show for me, and I'll remove myself.
Yeah, Gerard, speaking about the points, I think you're very optimistic if you're looking at under 60 points. It is a night game, but Kimberley, like you said, normally very high scoring with the rest of the ref. I think the bookies will be awake here, and I think we're looking at 65, 66 points, total points here, which is, you probably can't go under being in Kimberley. But yeah, I like the plus here. I managed to get plus 9.5 because I like request to win this game, actually. So I like the plus here. It's one of my stronger Currie Cup bets, one of my stronger bets of the weekend. Even with the 3 guys that Western Province lost to the Boks, if they played, I would still have liked Request here. Because for me, they're a very well coached team, and at home, I just have to back them. And one of my friends also, I spoke to him just today, and he said, the Pumas game in Kimberley was a bit of a concern for him on Request. And I told him, the Request, they normally better when they're the underdogs. They were the favourites there. So I think that played a factor there, and they probably didn't pitch up like they should. But they will be up for this game. So they've only got 2 games left, and this is a crucial game, this one and next week. So I think they should beat the Lions next week in Kimberley as well. But if they can get at least 2 points here, but I really think they can win this game. So I fancy cricket strong here. Fine.
Yeah, actually, I think you've got a point there. And as you guys have said, the big thing for me is Griquas have had like a whole week to prepare and focus on this one, while Province have probably had like a little bit of a disjointed run-in with some players missing. I mean, I don't think John Dobson really knew about a few like Skara and those guys too far out. And as Gerard said, I mean, I think Chad needs all the practice he can get at line-out time. So I'm a little bit concerned there. On that one, I'll just, for my outright interest, I'm pretty firm on Province. So there's no need for me to get involved here. I'll have a little nibble on the half-time, full-time Griquas Province. I think it's about 5-1. I think that's a nice little interest to have. And then I've got Damian Willems, a last try scorer, to come off the bench there and try and put in that step of his and try and do some magic. Anything else for you guys on that game, or can we move on to Pumas Cheetahs?
I think we can move on.
Okay, Hanrick, Pumas Cheetahs, what are you expecting?
Yeah, the Pumas, the Cheetahs, they started the season off well, but they faded a bit, and I fancied them to beat the Sharks in Durban last week, and they were in the game and then lost it at the end. But I think Chris alluded to this in his preview on the Good Game Forum. The Pumas, they have a bit to play for, because if they can make sure they don't finish at the bottom, they don't have to play the promotion relegation. It looks like it might be between them and the Bulls. So I think at home, the plus 11.5, it just looks a bit too big. If I would have had this gap closer to about 7, 8.5. So yeah, not a very confident bet, but on the handicap, I think the plus is the way to go here with the Pumas playing at home.
I was actually surprised. I heard last week at the end, or actually in the press conference post-game, that they were talking to Puerta about the promotion relegation. I'd actually completely forgotten. I thought it was a biannually kind of thing, so it was quite strange. And I would have loved to see the Bulls being involved in a playoff game. Man, I would have given some guys some stick. Gerard, what are you expecting for this one?
Geez, that would be awesome. I'm actually very sad they actually won that game against the Lions, because if it wasn't for that, they would be in deep trouble. Um, I actually quite like the Cheetahs team that they pick. Joseph Dwebe playing from the bench. That's obviously going to be your pick for last try scorer. And then obviously Oxen Chase again on the bench. He actually had quite a good 60 minutes when he came on for, I think it was Charles Murray. I do actually like the Cheetahs this weekend. The only weird thing is that they're playing poor the captain on a wing this weekend. The normal scrum off captain playing on wing this weekend, which is quite weird to basically make space for Ruan Pienaar, and also making up for a lot of wings that's had some injuries. But I do like the Cheetahs this weekend. I think they're going to be up for it. And according to me, they actually should have buried the Sharks last weekend. And I still don't know how the Sharks won that game.
No, Gerard, that makes two of us that obviously being half-time, full-time, that turnover in the 22 of like 20 seconds. Actually, the Hooters had already gone, and conceding a 75-meter turnaround try, that was like that was a killer blow. But yeah, it's Ruan Pienaar back at scrum off. I see William Small-Smith is back, so that's probably going to be pretty big for them. And then yeah, it's a pretty decent bench of those guys coming off, and you've spot on that one, Gerard. It's Joe Dweba to come on, score a try at the end there for me, and I think that's for the best performance from the Cheetahs was against Griquas. I think against the slightly smaller unions, they've shown that they can actually pull away and put them away. So I've got half-time, full-time as my play at the moment. I think it was 9-10, so Cheetahs to lead at the break and full-time. Obviously, I'll take a little bit more of that risk, but I think that's where I'll go, and maybe a little nibble at the alternative handicap. That's those are my plays for that one. And then the last,
Sorry, is that still available, the half-time, full-time? Because that would be an awesome pick. I don't know if it's still available, but that's a great price for half-time, full-time Cheetahs.
The last one I saw now was one. Actually, I'm lying. Is it the right game? Actually, I had 1.84.
With that handicap, that sounds very big.
Oh no, I'm sorry. That's actually on the Lions. I've got the wrong game there. No, I was on the pick I've got on that one is -4.5 halftime. Cheetahs. That's my pick. Sorry, got my picks mixed up there.
Jeez, I almost cleared everything I had.
Empty the account of that one. Okay, so you already know what my pick is then for the Lions game. So let's hear what you guys have got in store for the Lions game. Half-time, full-time for me. Gerard, you kick off.
Thanks, guys. I also like the Lions. I know they have some injury worries. But the Sharks are playing a Boeta Chamberlain that's making his debut at fly-off. And I think to make your debut, even though it's basically according to me, a very poor Lions team either way, it's still very daunting to make your debut on Ellis Park. It's quite weird because I think it's a Sunday game. Obviously, there will be some points in that game as well. I think 3:00 Sunday game, Ellis Park. Don't care who the ref is actually, because there should be points either way. Yeah. Okay, nice. But I still think, obviously, like you said, like almost like the Griquas game. At this stage, if the bookies doesn't know that there will be points at Ellis Park or at Kimberley, they will never know it. So I don't think we'll have any luck on that. But I do like the Lions actually on the minus. I think it's 4.5 that I could get just prior to the show.
No, you know what I'm doing when the Lions play. It's a default bet for me. I like taking the Lions. I just can't have the Lions, and I've had stick for it, but and it's been a bit expensive, this Currie Cup for me, but I'm still going against the Lions. So I'm not even taking the plus. I'm just taking the Sharks to win the game. It's about 16-10. I actually saw about close to 17-10 as well. But yeah, I'm happy to take the plus here, and I don't think the altitude will be that big a problem. The new fly off for the Sharks, I haven't seen him play yet, so not sure what to expect. But yeah, I'm still happy to take on the lines, and I'll have a look at overs on Sharks points here as well, with it being a 2 o'clock kickoff on a Sunday afternoon. Conditions should be perfect, and Marius van Westhuizen is a very nice overset. He doesn't, when it's a half a chance for being a try, he awards it. He first awards the try and says it's a try, then if it goes to the TMO, he'll say on-field decision is try. He awards a try very easily. So I love taking overs when Marius is the ref.
Hanrick, I think the weird thing about this Currie Cup is that it's almost a case of, I've got alternative handicap for the Lions to win by 10 points or more at pretty much 16-10. And I think it's almost like we've both got equal opportunity to win that bet. It could be Lions running away, scoring one of those long distance tries at the end when the Sharks try and force it, or other way around. The Sharks might win by 7-8 points. It's been a crazy Currie Cup, and I almost think it's better. The handicaps are sometimes not the best place to go, and rather go for the complete, upset outright result, as you said in that one. And the Sharks have been a tough team to call. They've been actually poor against the two teams they should have beaten, and then they've actually performed against the teams that you think they shouldn't have. So it is maybe the right way to go this weekend. I just think the Lions would have had a hard week, being told where they go went wrong, and surely they've got to put in the first 40 minutes for once sometime. So I'm hoping that happens.
Yeah, that's why.
And then I'll take Achiva Daimani as the first try scorer. Sorry, Hanrick, just to have an interest there. And last one on the Currie Cup one.
No, I just want to say I agree with you 100% on rather taking the bigger minus, or just to take the underdog to win the game when it's a smallish handicap. Whenever the handicap is less than 7 o'clock, 7 o'clock plus 7.5 on this on the Currie Cup, you can rather take the underdog just to win the game, because, like you said, there's much better value. The chances are very good that they're going to win the game rather than just lose it by a small margin.
No, I agree completely. Okay, guys, that's why my homework ends, and now I'm gonna open my betting accounts and listen. So speak to me on the Mitre10 Cup. Maybe you guys have a few games you'd like to talk about, Gerard, a few games that you've got listed. Maybe first tell me the games, and then Hanrick can say whether he's got different games, and then you can talk about it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll give about let's call it 3 fancies that I have. It's obviously a whole host of games coming up the weekend. Hendrik and the rest of the guys on the forum kicked us off with a nice Auckland handicap that was awesome this morning, and I got stuck into Auckland's points line as well, which actually came through as well. So I was quite happy about that. I think
Gerard, we're gonna have to talk about this WhatsApp group. I need info before you place any bets on Mitre10 Cup.
No problem, I'll do that. I think again, Tasman is playing Canterbury at Canterbury. I would go Tasman again. I think it was a choice game when I saw it earlier the week, and I could get like yesterday 1.5. And I think that Tasman will roll Canterbury. They did not impress me at all against Waikato. I actually thought Waikato was gonna walk that game even further than they actually did. I don't know. I don't trust this Canterbury team, and I think they're playing basically on the name at this stage. Tasman is a team to beat in the Premiership, so I would go on that handicap for sure. Then I also like the Bay of Plenty game against Waikato. Bay of Plenty does have a good squad. They are actually not the favourites for that game. They're playing at home against Waikato. So I would go on the plus there, just take that, or just take the straight win. I like Bay of Plenty. They played a great game last week. Otago, it was absolutely useless, but winning 57, 50-7, you still have to play a decent game to do that either way. And it was insanely wet in that game. So I do like them as well. And then, geez, Manawatu and Southland will be the two punching bags this season in the championship. So I wouldn't say I would go on the handicap there because it's quite high. It's 11.5. What I could get 11.5, and that's a little bit too high for me. But I would like to take Taranaki points if I can get it. They have a decent backline, and I think they will score some points.
Nice. I must say, I was also the one that I did watch was Tasman, and I heard a lot of good things in advance, and I must say they really impressed me. So I wouldn't really go too far off them. That's for sure, Hanrick.
I see Emile is asking if I could please tell him that countries will cover the handicap. I've got bad news for him. I think they will lose by a few years. I like North Harbour on the minus. I was surprised that this handicap isn't closer to 2 converted tries. I expected it to be 12 or 13, and then when I checked, I see there's 7.5 available. I really like the team North Harbour picked. And counties, they struggled last week, so yeah, I really like North Harbour. This is one of my stronger fancies, so get on that. It's 7:45 tomorrow our time. So yeah, I like that one. Then the next one, Otago, they got a beating on the answer from Bay of Plenty, but Southland, we saw what Northland got from Auckland, and Northland beat Southland pretty comfortably. So, and with the Shield being on the line and Otago being back at home, there's a handicap. I think it's about, you can get 17.5 if you like the minus. I like that strong. I think Otago will easily win close to 30 here. They will beat.
Sorry.
Yes,
Hendrik, sorry, man. I think that Josh Ione might be back this weekend. I haven't seen the team, but there was a lot of speculation with Josh Ione being back, and then also Jonah Nareki, sevens player for New Zealand, also being back, that missed out last week. That's and under the roof, that's going to be big trouble for Southland.
Yeah, I think they should have, especially in the back line, like you said. And Nareki was in fine form last year. He scored a lot of tries for Otago. So yeah, I like Otago strong here. And then yeah, I agree on Tasman.
Just quickly on that one, doesn't it put you off the beating that Otago took last week? I mean, Gerard was just they were horrible, and now you're talking about 2 changes, and they're gonna put a different team away. So, I mean, does that just mean that?
Yeah, I think it's because of the fact that the Shield is also on the line. These teams, you can lose all your games, but you can just win the Shield, and then your season is made. It's a competition that's been run like the last 100 years, and it's massive for them. It's very close to winning the championship. It might even be more important to the teams than winning the championship almost, because Otago won it last year from Waikato. And Waikato actually got promoted, being dropped the previous season. And I can tell you now, they celebrated as if that was their promotion for the year. So they will be up for this. And Southland is really poor. There's no denying that. There's a nice word for it, but I won't say it on the show. But they are really poor.
Okay.
Yeah,
sorry for interrupting, Hanrick.
No problem. Mine is cool. I actually think it's more like Gerard said. Now it's a case of Southland being very poor, and I think Bay of Plenty actually they're a bit better than most people give them credit so far. So I was really impressed by Bay of Plenty last weekend. So I think that's why Otago took a beating, and Otago might have had an eye on the Shield Challenge already, because like Gerard said, the Shield is massive. And I remember that game last year when Otago took the Shield off Waikato. I was very confident on Waikato. Waikato were favourites at -6.5, and I had a big bet on the -6.5. And Otago ended up winning the game. So I lost a few rand on that game. Yeah, so the Canterbury Tasman game, I was shocked when Tasman came out the slight underdogs here. I thought they would, when the bet comes out. I thought Tasman would be about 4 or 5 points favourite, even with the game being played in Christchurch. Tasman were very impressive against Wellington, and I would be very surprised if Tasman lose a game this year. I think they will go unbeaten and they will win the premiership. And yeah, I managed to get even money on Tasman. I think there's still some 7 to 10 for them to win the game available here. I like them very strong here. So this is a nice bet. And then the last one, we have plenty Waikato. Waikato, they were impressive against Canterbury. Quinn Tupaya and Fletcher Smith led them. They were very good. But yeah, they have plenty there at home, and they beat Otago very easily. Put 50 points on Otago, and Otago, they're not that bad a side. So yeah, this is not very strong fancy, but I like they have plenty to win the game. At I think there's 21 to 20 is the best I saw, so just over even money. So yeah, my best bets on the Mitre10 Cup: North Harbour minus, Otago minus, and Tasman to win.
Is it Dwayne Sweeney or what? Who's the inside centre, the Waikato guy?
Yeah.
He's huge. He's very whippu.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you've seen it, but there's a oak that's been picked for West Indies in the Test group. 140 kgs.
Imagine if you had to pay him and Chris Gale, he wouldn't feel the ball. But yeah, no, that was I couldn't believe when I saw that guy running out. No, do you guys best bets? Are you guys sticking to something out of the Mitre10, or do you want a Mitre10 best bet and another best bet? Well, I'm going to leave it up to you guys. Shout out your best players.
I would say yes. Even that 7 out of 10, I do love Tasman. I think that's my best pick for the week. Either rugby, that's my best pick for the week is Tasman for the win.
I'm going for Griquas on the plus because I like Griquas to win the game there. So Griquas on the plus, my best bet. And yeah, I just told you guys what I like in the Mitre10 Cup, but I like Griquas this week.
Hanrick, it's going to be very tough for me because I really want to go to Tafelberg Park and enjoy all the spoils there, and it'll be great. But unfortunately, it's going to be Province are going to have to go do the job this weekend. So I'm steering clear of that game, and then I'll stick my base bet will still be on. Geez, I don't even have a base bet. Yeah, make it the Lions. I think the Lions are going to get the job done over the Sharkies. Half-time, full-time on the Lions. Brent, do you have a best bet there, or is your favorite bet on your Wi-Fi hopefully coming right?
My favorite bet is on me having a new Wi-Fi service provider by this time next week. I won't go into detail here, but it's actually a little bit more. I have no idea what's wrong with my sound, but I was convinced I had it nailed down to the Wi-Fi. Now I'm a little bit unsure. But anyway, enough about that. My best bet, I'm going with Hanrick there. Greg was on the plus. Just to mention to the guys, Sarah did touch on Super Brew earlier. I put a link to the free good for the game Super Brew below. We've also got the pay-to-play Super Brew. 500 Rand gets you in. That is going to be a massive pool, guys. I haven't really started marketing that hard yet, but I really want to get upwards of 100 players, maybe even up to 200 players at 500 Rand each. So we play for 100,000 pool and maybe a 50 grand first prize or something like that. I think that'll be great. And the World Cup deserves something like that.
And Brent, if I can just come in there, we just did our SARS thing, so you can put it down as a donation to Hein Diemont, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, that's it, Hein. And just to mention the newsletter, of course, I've given it a break. Thank goodness for everyone on the last couple of weeks because my two best bets have turned absolutely belly up. But we'll send that out. I'll put a letter to that below the show as well. And then just to thank you guys. I mean, I picked up most of the show while I was busy experimenting, trying to see what was wrong with my sound. There's some nice strong bets there in the Mitre10 Cup and the Currie Cup. And I tend to agree with that strategy. I think that's where the money could be made this weekend. And perhaps we just enjoy the Bledisloe Cup and the other internationals a little bit with one eye on the Rugby World Cup. Because I think the Rugby World Cup, guys, is going to be a punting extravaganza, the likes of which we've never experienced before. And Gerard, I see you nodding your head there.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I hope the bookies get it wrong on Japan. I really like them. Hendrik touched on it just briefly. Japan, Scotland. I hope they give Japan a massive plus. I would love to get stuck in there. I think that's going to be interesting. And I heard Jamie Joseph just saying that Japan is going to stick to their entertaining style of play. So Japan points will also be something to look out for in those games. And then just one thing that we didn't touch on, I would like to just make note of that. Couch, you would love it, that Ash Dixon that plays for Hawke's Bay. He will score more tries. There's no doubt about that. He's 5-2 this weekend. He scored 2 last weekend. Hawke's Bay Maul, every single attacking play, they only score from mauls. So just have some fun. It's going to happen.
Well, I'll tell you, Hein, before you come in there, just to mention another bet that will be in tomorrow's newsletter is the value bet, and it's priced at 5-2. You can guess what it is.
Definitely. That's probably, I think, the third person. I don't know what's happening now because people keep telling me about try score a bet. So it's getting pretty strange. But I've heard like 3 or 4 people talk about Ash Dixon. So I'm going to be there, boots in there.
Excellent. Guys, anybody got anything to add before we knock off? That's it, Hanrick. Thanks very much. Kara, great to have you on the show again. And Couch, I know you were looking for a relaxing show on your couch there, sort of hovering around in the comments, ready to get called up. Let's hope I get to the bottom of these sound problems before the Rugby World Cup. Otherwise, I don't know what I'm going to do. Guys, thanks very much. Thanks also to all the guys in the live chat. As always, you make the show that bit more interesting and exciting. And we look forward to a great weekend of rugby punting. If you haven't subscribed yet, do so down below. And look out at all the other links, including, of course, our Super Brew pool. Thanks, everyone.
Cheers, guys. Thanks.